good morning, 042, and good morning to everyone watching today. You're tuned into Sunrise on ANEKE TV, where every sunrise begins with delightfulness. I'm bringing you today's sunrise. I am Deborah Wakaba, coming to you live from here in Vibrant Indigo.
And good morning to you, our global audience. I'm Uche Osai. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or even in transit, thank you for letting us into your space this beautiful Monday morning. We're here, as always, to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, and today is the second month of 2026, which is 2nd of February. And of course, it's another edition here on Sunrise, where we've got everything lined up for you today, from our trending stories to our weather report, and of course, that special sunrise vibe to help us start our day.
So, grab that cup of coffee or tea, relax, enjoy the ride, because the sunrise is here.
Yes, and today, coming up shortly, we'll be starting things off with our quote of the day, which is our inspiration segment, and also with that special sunrise vibe.
Then, it's straight into the day's top headline. All the key news updates that you need to remain informed will be served, hot, debated, and of course, tasty.
And right after that, we'll be giving you our full weather report for today, covering cities across the southeast and beyond, so you'd know what to expect before stepping out. Or if you've stepped out already, it is to keep you throughout the rest of the day.
And later, we'll wrap things up by bringing to you our business news update. The man of many parts, the sports oracle, commissioner for enjoyment, and the mental mechanic.
All right, now moving over to our morning show inspiration segment, which is our quote for today, coming from Victor D.O. And in his quote, he says, "Success that adds value to oneself alone, but not to the society at large, is failure in disguise." I'm going to take that quote again, coming from Victor D.O. that says, "Success that adds value to oneself alone, but not to the society at large, is failure in disguise." Now, this quote is saying that true success is not just personal achievement, but positive impact. In simple terms, Victor Dio is arguing that if someone becomes wealthy, famous, or powerful without contributing anything meaningful to society, that success is empty. It may look impressive on the outside, but is actually a failure hidden behind personal gain. And this quote emphasizes that real success should improve not only the individual's life, also benefit others through service, through innovation, through leadership, or positive change. So success that ends with me alone is incomplete, but success that lifts others and improves society is the real deal. Mr. Ocha, I'd
Sure,
like to know your thoughts.
that's the real deal. So, yes, whatever value that improves society is the real deal, and that's what should concern everyone.
Yeah.
It's high time we move from self to a collective, position about success. That when I attain a certain point of success, it should be impactful on at least my immediate community. And that's why, when you're talking about this quote, success that adds value to oneself alone, but not to the society at large, is a failure in disguise. It takes me to what Achebe did say in Things Fall Apart. And he says, a man who calls his kinsmen to a feast does not do so in order to save them from starvation.
Yeah.
And when you look at that quote, you realize that success has to be communal. It has to be impactful. You do not do, in the words of Achebe, you don't do that to save them from starvation,
Yeah.
but rather for you to have that impact, that communal sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And in that, it takes us to the successful men, that Nigerian successful men. And for me, these are the yardstick, because they are women who have excelled under the circumstances that we find ourselves, the geographical location, so without the impediments of or the trappings that would stop one from succeeding, we have men who have attained the climax of success. And I cite Dangote, for example. When you look at the life of Dangote, his success is so impactful. Look at the refinery, for example. You can speak to the impact of that refinery. This is success trickling down, touching everyone in our society. Who else do I mention? A good number of them. So when we think we've gotten to the climax and there's nothing, to write home on the impact about people, life well lived is how people perceive your your coming and your going is about the testimonies about you that matters. And that's what, Victor D.O. is telling us this morning. That is not just to live and say you are successful.
Yeah.
You've gotten to the apogee that you're a double chieftaincy title holder. You are a professor of this and that. You are the richest man in the world, or you're the richest man in Southeast Nigeria,
Yeah.
or the entire African hemisphere. That one is not impactful. There's nobody who gives testimony to what your words, has accomplished in their lives, how he has impacted people. Then you are a failure in itself, and that's what the O is telling us. So that's why when we go through history, we remember the impact of men who has affected our lives. And such men, for me, when you come to Southeast Nigeria, you remember K.O. Mbadiwe, you look at their exploits, look at Akanibia. These are men who remember, not just because they were successful, but because their success impacted, touched the life of the common man or common man in the society. And when I go to the market, because where I come from, we are entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
my Igbo brothers. When we go to our business places, what you do, how does it impact people? Is it about wealth accumulation, wealth without impact? No. We should thrive. In as much as we want to be successful, let it be such that impact lives. And you can't achieve that without having what Thomas Aquinas, talked about, an unexamined life. So you need to examine that life and examine the impact. At any given time, you feel that you're missing the point, you need to go back to the drawing board and see that your success is collective, that is impactful. People have good to speak of you. And Dangote is a credible example of this. So thank you this morning for bringing our attention, our mind, that yes, in this life and in this time, we can be successful, but let it be a success that would impact people. And I close again by reminding what Chinua Achebe said. He says, a man who calls his kinsmen to a feast does not do so to save them from starvation. And that is quite up. You engender communal fellowship with your success. Impact on others is what makes you a successful person. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. Well, also saying if your success does not impact people in any way or doesn't make the world better in any way, then you've not really succeeded. And also, while we're going about our day-to-day, let us keep this quote in our minds coming from Victor D.O. that says, success that adds value to oneself alone but not to the society at large is a failure in disguise. So let us make our success be impactful to others. If you're a professor, let your wisdom or your word of knowledge impact students. And also remember that each new sunrise is a platform where we grow, is where we learn something new or simply be more present in whatever we do. Now let us know what this quote means to you. You can drop your thoughts across our social media platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or at ANEKE TV. And up next is our weather report.
Yes, we'll take a look at the weather report across major cities in the southeast today.
Day with plenty of sunshine. Highs around the low 30 degrees Celsius, about 34 degrees Celsius with sunshine and little chance of rain. UV levels will be high, so sunglasses and sunscreen are your best friend.
Good morning, Coal City. Welcome to Enugu. Enugu's weather follows Oka's warm and partly sunny trend, with highs in the low 30 degrees Celsius and a small sprinkle of clouds here and there, perfect for morning strolls.
And in Abakaliki, its summer vibes continue at Abakaliki with hot temperatures likely in the mid-30s, warm air by day and humid at night. Keep that water bottle handy.
Good morning, Imo State. Welcome to my favorite city of Owerri. Owerri enjoys the warm parade. Temperatures climbing into the mid-30 degrees Celsius with sunny spells and humidity in the mist. Light breezes might help cool things down, just a little.
And in Umahia is bringing the heat too. Similarly hot and humid conditions around 33 to 34 degrees Celsius with clear to warm skies dominating the day. Another great day to sip, chill juice and stay cool.
So, wherever you are in the southeast today, Stay safe, stay cool, dress light, but do remember that either rain or shine, we've got you covered. And this is your weather report here on Sunrise on ANEKE TV. We'll go on a short break and we'll return with more news updates.
Advertise with us. Cover your events. Share your story. Call 070-30437110 today. ANEKE TV. Move with the world.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter who sorts is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on ANEKE TV. Join us.
A look at our newspapers for today, starting from The Nation, Punch, Daily Trust, and The Guardian newspaper.
And joining us this morning, as always, is Mr. Rest, our ANEKE TV's in-house analyst. Mr. Rest, it's a pleasure to see you this Monday morning.
Good morning, viewer, and welcome to the program.
My signature question, how is Nigeria treating you this morning?
Well, Nigeria has always treated Nigerians like the way they treat Nigerians.
Okay, and you are a Nigerian, and I should conclude that Nigeria is treating you well then.
Well, it depends on your perception. I said it treats me like it's treating every other Nigerian.
And how is it treating every other Nigerian, Mr. Rest?
Of course, every other Nigerian is crying wolf. Yeah.
Some are celebrating as well.
Well, just a few Nigerians, about 120 or 30, 40 million Nigerians are crying foul.
Mr. Rice, it's a pleasure to see you this Monday morning.
Thank you.
And also with us is Mr. Good Hope, the man that prized himself as the mental mechanic, the man of many parts, sports oracle, commissioner for enjoyment. Mr. Good Hope, it's a pleasure to have you on Sunrise.
Good morning, thank you very much.
And how's your weekend?
It was good. I will tell you for a fact, when you mentioned, I was just watching, when you mentioned that about Chinua Achebe's quotes of doing good things in the family and community, I say I pride as the Commissioner of Enjoyment. I've done some of those things, and I've done because you guys always say that I've not done it. So because my records are out there.
Anyway, one day I'll be going into your profiles and see how you dish this enjoyment. But how is Nigeria treating you?
Well, just like Mr. Rice said, Nigeria is treating me like it's treating Nigerians.
And that's wonderful, yes, because we know that Nigeria has been good to us,
yes,
and you are shining, meaning that, yes, this country has been so good.
Yes.
And you are a practical example.
I'm a practical example.
And thank you, Nigeria, for treating the Commissioner of Enjoyment very well. Yeah, so we'll take a look at our newspapers this morning, starting from the Punch newspaper.
Okay, now for the headlines today in our newspaper. The Nation headline says General Musa coup attempt was forward at planning stage. And on the Punch newspaper, the major headline there says presidency spends 34 billion naira on forex in 2 years. And in the Daily Trust, Tinubu abroad 22 days in 1 month. And on the Guardian paper, Nigeria's turn to survival businesses as former jobs dry up. And today's paper will be starting from the Punch. The headline that says Travels presidency spends 34 billion naira on forex in 2 years. And the Punch newspaper reports that presidency spent about 34 billion naira on foreign exchange for travel expenses over a 2-year period. The report highlights costs linked to international engagement, official trips, and related logistics. The revelation has sparked public debate, especially at a time when Nigerians are grappling with economic pressure and rising the cost of living. Mr. Oji?
All right. I would pander to Mr. Rest immediately. We are seeing a situation where 34.39 billion naira, is being bandied as money spent on foreign trips, though there are a lot of logistics around this expenditure. But Mr. Rest, let's start from the face value, the foreign trips.
Well, we might say that Mr. President as movement to the foreign nations is for the good of Nigeria sometimes. Some people are skeptical about the same. Some call those travels part of the president junketing, that is to say, fun, because sometimes it is not clear why he makes the travels. In some of the travels he has made, we have seen that of Turkey, we have seen the United Nations, and a few others, which were meaningful to Nigerians, where he campaigned for, a relationship with other countries as well as attracting investment to Nigeria. But that is a whooping sum from the face value of it. Is a whooping sum, especially when greater percentage of Nigerians are living under poverty line. It's a whooping sum. I had expected that the president would be a little more prudent in expenditures that are going to take. Like we had said that Mr. Peter B, who was governor of Anambra State, when he was governor, he cut down on the retinue of convoy. He cut down on visits to government house. He cut down on so many things, which resulted in the state saving enormous sums, which he handed over to the administration after him. So I expected that the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is knowledgeable in leadership because he had been governor, two-time governor of Lagos State, he was a senator and all that. So I expect that in a situation like ours in Nigeria, where the economy is not bouncing, that the government or the president will be able to know how to best manage the resources and not allow this kind of account to be given on the kind of money that has been used within 2 years. Probably within 4 years, it will be double the sum or even more. So we actually should advise that the national income should be judiciously spent to make sure that it affects or it begins to have positive effects on Nigerians.
All right. Speaking to having positive impact on Nigerians, you did use the word junketing, and I mean that to say, yeah, when I listen to you talk,
I said some people are skeptical and had seen the president trips as junketing, while others see president trips as things that bring about good things to Nigerians.
okay, all right, yeah, there are both sides to every divide, but given to those who, use the term junketing, does that mean to say that they see the president's travel that has generated about 50 billion into foreign direct investment into the nation has not been productive, fruitful, and impactful to the citizen?
Probably they may think that the president could still even get more investment without spending huge sums. That's exactly what they mean. And sometimes the president has been said to have gone on trips that resulted in his, kind of hiring a yacht and all that. But these are all allegations anyway.
And I want to ask at the other end of it, when you compare the presidents that we have, especially between when we talk about foreign trips, three presidents come to mind. speak to President Olusegun Obasanjo from 1999 to 2003. Then President Muhammadu Buhari is brought into the fray, and now the sitting president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we are told throughout the period of President Olusegun Obasanjo, he did make about 97 trips, which are categorized as diplomatic trips, given the nature and the situation of Nigeria, then classified as a pariah state. And then we saw President Buhari, late President Muhammadu Buhari, make over 50-something trip in that period, in the period that he heads where, which many ascribe to a period of sick leaves spent in London.
Health issues.
Yes, and this time around we are seeing that within the life of 2 years in the life of this administration, we've seen the president make about 36 trips in 2 years, which the opposition, have categorically seen or spoken to as a period that he spent 25% of his time abroad, and in the first 26 months, and they see that as being wasteful to the taxpayers' money in Nigeria.
Yeah.
How do you?
Yeah, certainly. If you look at the trips Obasanjo did, these trips were recorded within 8 years. That of Buhari also recorded within 8 years of his leadership, late Buhari. And of course, that of the present president, it's a trip made within 2 years. And if he wins a second tenure, he still has 2 years, 2 years to go, or about 2 years to go. And then he has another 4 years if he wins, which is going to be 8 years. So if he stays within 8 years with this rate of movement across the world, across many nations of the world, it means that he could surpass that of Obasanjo. And of course, most of the trips may not be very diplomatic. And we have not even seen his own case as that of health, because it is not giving, sometimes when Buhari moves, we see a handover to the vice president. That is where he takes, the vice president takes position, takes the position of office of the president and runs the presidency until his principal comes back. That is on held ground. But in the present circumstance, our president leaves, stays out for close to 21 days and all that, without even a handover, no formal handover to vice president and all that. But then we will see President Tinubu making more trips overseas, and he will be further criticized for those trips, even when it is seen for some of the trips to have attracted investments. And we are not talking about well, there's a language somebody uses, we call voodoo investment. When you say voodoo investment, it means an investment that is not seen in reality, but seen on the pages of newspapers and reports, audiovisual reports. So let us see concrete investment. Let that investment translate into something that make life meaningful to Nigerians. That is exactly the kind of investment we're expecting from the president trips. So let us not have the kind of investment that you just hear there is an investment attraction and you don't see anything for real that will give jobs to the teeming populace.
All right. Still on same issue, when we take in total between Obasanjo's 97 trips in 8 years, Muhammadu Buhari's trip in 8 years, about equally 100 or thereabouts. And then the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we've seen about 45 trips. By 2020, by February this year, 2026, we'll see he must have made about 40-something trips, and this still early in the life of his administration if he eventually secures a second term. But looking at the bulk of the expenses during these travels, we are told that foreign exchange, dominated the bulk of these numbers in terms of expenditure. And equally, when you begin to break it down, you see that the air fleet, the presidential air fleet, take the bulk of that money as well. Talking about aircraft maintenance, which is being Air Force One, which is being Nigerian presidential fleet, which is being managed by the Air Force. It took the bulk of that money. And I mean to ask, should we look into constitutionally, restricting the movement of our presidents?
Well, there's no restriction to the movement because these things are anything that the president could do to better Nigeria in his own estimation as Mr. President. That is what he does. So if you are looking at the Constitution, it means you are talking about a constitutional amendment. But, what will a constitutional amendment, restrict the president's movement for? It will be counterproductive. It means that the president or subsequent presidents will complain about what they could have done if they were not restricted. So that is, of course, such things should not come. It should not come because that is not the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is what will the president do to better Nigeria, to take Nigeria to another level, to make the masses come out from the squalor where the standard of living come out from that level and get higher up in the society where the GDP will grow, where unemployment will be, pushed down to the lowest ebb, where peace, that is peace will be achieved, that is insecurity will be, taken to the lowest level and all that. This is exactly what Nigerian problems are. The problems are not about what movement Mr. President does. Even if Mr. President is going to spend all that money and those things are achieved, then there won't be so much query about that, because that money, if he's able to help in achieving the greater percentage of the problems of Nigerians, what do you want? What do we want? If we are living a good life in Nigeria, what do we want? So what I'm saying about is that if we begin to talk about investment, let the investments be real. Let it translate to something that will help Nigerians.
All right. Let it translate to something that will help Nigerians. But looking at this very issue from another point of view, I want to ask, why is it that we don't get, these foreign presidents and national of this team Nigeria rather than we, traveling? There were a time when we saw high-profile visitors to this nation.
Well, you see, it is not easy. It is when you get your house in order. There are things that are going to make Nigeria attractive. And you have not put Nigeria in a situation that will make it attractive, so that high-profile, visits will be done. You ask yourself, how many times have you hosted any of the world summits? That is exactly where presidents travel, go to other parts of the world to do a summit. You can be sure of your security. You can be sure that things are going to go well. But where you have terrorism, flourishing, you expect they're going to give you the right to host any of the world summits, G this, G that, all the summits that are going? How often do you even host that of West Africa and that of Africa? So it's only when your house is in order that you have the wherewithal, and then when you apply for, it will be granted by the international community for you to host. But when you don't, when your place is not good enough to host those first-class presidents from other parts of the country, It will not be easy. Nobody comes to a place that has turmoil. You have turmoil in Nigeria, and you think the presidents of other nations will come into this country where there is insecurity, where the Americans are warning their nationals in Nigeria to be careful wherever they are, and so on. So, how would even Trump come? In those days when Obasanjo was in power, of course, the president of America was here in Nigeria. And since then, no president of America has been here again.
All right, that's quite in-depth. We hope that there will be significant improvement in this travel such that it will impact the generality of Nigerians. I hope that's where you're situated your position on these travels.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now to the national security on the Nation paper that says General Musa, how coup attempt was forward at planning stage. The Nation reports that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has revealed how a planned coup attempted was forward at the planning stage. According to the Military High Command, timely intelligence gathering and swift action by security agencies prevented the plot from progressing beyond discussions. General Musa reassured Nigerians that the armed forces remain alert, united, and fully committed to defending democracy and constitutional order. Mr. Ocha, I'd like to know your thoughts.
All right. Looking at the whole, queue issue, my position on this has always been that the government, especially defense headquarters, should be sure that indeed there was an attempted coup, and now the defense headquarters have come out to speak categorically that they have confirmed about this intent upon which General Musa, former CDS, as at this period, has come out to confirm, yes, that indeed there were moved. But Mr. Rez, of more interesting to me is to hear from the defense headquarters and from the horse's mouth, General Christopher Musa himself, retired, that this whole coup attempt, started before the advent of President Tinubu's administration in 2023. What does this speak to? The intent of these soldiers, because a number of times we've said that perhaps that their intention, was heralded by the happenings around this administration, which General Christopher Musa have come out to say no, that they've been in the planning before the life of this administration.
But at the same time, the same General Musa, of course, said that the persons involved in the coup, especially the colonel who spearheaded, who was bankrolling as well as planning and strategizing the strategies for the 16-member, or there could be other members anywhere, was a colonel that failed to pass promotion exams to brigadier general. So, and it was obvious that since he was unable to get to the general level which he wanted to do, he was disenchanted, he was not happy about the goings on in Nigeria as a whole, not just about Tinubu, you do understand. So you see, if the coup actually started before the emergence of the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then it means that the plotters or the man at the helm of affairs at that time was disenchanted about something in Nigeria. And that thing, he is best known to him anyway, because he has not, the coup did not come and he has not said anything. He has not even been, even the interrogation has not been made open. So who will know by the time he probably would be given an opportunity to speak or defend himself, he'll be able to say exactly what they were doing. They may probably even claim there was no coup. They were doing their own things, internally. So until then, we'll be able to know. But then I want to tell you that the people who plan the coup, are like every other coup planners everywhere, must always be disenchanted and be able to do certain things to justify their action. Because without the justification of the action, the masses might even troop out a mass to say no to it, even when you kill them. After all, how many of them? How many of them? It's just about that when you talk about it, there's this book about James Harley-Chase. It said, fear is the key that unlocks the wallet of the rich and poor. So the moment there is a martial music and there's an announcement, you now suspect the next person after you might be one of the coup plotters, so you don't do anything. If you start anything funny, you might be killed. And of course, Musa said that he was made to be arrested and killed and assassinated in that coup. That is one of the findings of General Musa. So the thing is that the coup plotters, and General Musa also said when they learned about the rumor, they had to douse that tension to enable them do diligent investigation, to enable them dig underground and get out who are involved, and immediately they did. Everybody's thought about it, went away, and they went on to do the investigation. In the course of the investigation, they were able to unravel the extent they have gone, and that is from where they were able to actually know that the coup had started much earlier than when the rumor was uncovered.
Okay, Mr. Reyes, given the fact that we've seen, according to the general, that these are disgruntled officers, but that the hatching of this plan started before the life of this administration. And I want to ask, are you not worried perhaps that this, in the mind of these coup plotters, was to replicate what we've witnessed around the Sahel and parts of Africa, even here at Nigeria's backyard, speaking to, Chad, Niger, and the attempted coup in Benin Republic as well, that the military are now making a comeback into leadership in Africa again?
Because the African leaders have not distinguished themselves in leadership. That is exactly why these force men want to come back to power. Since they tested that they have gone and they could come back to power and oust legitimate people vested with responsibility of governance, they want to do that. Some of them are overzealous. Some of them have interest of the country at heart, because if you look at the Sahel region, you might find out that one of them is being held by the people of their country for what he's doing presently, which means he has something good at heart. He never enjoyed the way their government, the government was going, and so on and so forth. And they actually wanted some level of independence to control their resources, But in some of these countries, the resources are siphoned by another level of colonialism. That is exactly the problem that we have had. You find out that sometime, a few months back, about 2 months back, Nigeria's ship carrying oil was caught by the Americans. And then these things had been a recurrent decimal. But it's only that America came out to catch one ship and then just a sample. But this ship has been coming and going, leaving Nigeria, coming to the shores, loading crude oil and taking it away. And you ask yourself, with this crude oil, these large crude oil barrels that are being taken away, on whose account? How? Who are involved? It's a big cartel, a cartel that might even involve a country. So it's a big cartel that is into this oil business. These are free oil that is going to some people, and they will sell or refine and share the money. And you ask yourself, these are resources of a nation, and we have a government in place. And the government we have in place is unable to check the excesses, the mining condition, the drilling condition, the mining of solid minerals. see, in many African countries, we have solid minerals of all forms. In Nigeria, we have basically almost all the most solid minerals in species in the world. We have it in Nigeria, most of them. And we still say our population is dying in penury. So how? How must we? If America do have such a thing, won't America start, by now they're already living in the moon. If there's no water in the moon or air, they'll be able to manufacture water and air in the moon because of the level of resources they have. So we have these resources, yet we have nothing to show for it. And our leaders, I don't know, the monies are siphoned. Where is this money? The monies are not even in Nigeria to be used to industrialize. The monies are siphoned and taken to other nations where the banks in such nations uses these monies to fund projects, to fund agriculture, to fund production in those countries. This is terrible somehow for a country like Nigeria. And that is exactly what happens to most of these countries that are having military incursion into their democratic governance.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now moving over to economy and livelihood from the Guardian paper, where the Guardian headline reads, Nigeria turns to survivor businesses as former jobs dry up. Now the Guardian headlines or the Guardian paper reports that more Nigerians are turning to survivor businesses as former job opportunities continue to dry up. From roadside trading and small-scale farming to online hustles, many citizens are improvising to make ends meet. Analysts warn that while these ventures help families survive, the trend reflects deeper challenges in job creation and economic stability. Stauchi.
All right. Looking at this situation in Nigeria, this is a sum total of the sorry states Nigeria has found itself in the meantime. But when you speak from the government perspective, you see that government will tell you that they are doing enough, they are doing a lot to see that the lot of the common man is improved. And when we look at, for example, when the oil subsidy was removed, we were told that it is to help the nation become stronger, and that the proceeds saved from the removal of oil subsidy will be rechanneled into other areas that will help with development. And a number of times, this government has told us that a lot of funds has been made available to the subnationals, and one would remember hearing Mr. President telling the governors to wet the grass more, speaking to when people raise concern to a lot of sufferings in the land. But Mr. Rice, I bring you to this issue. A lot of time, what we are seeing, especially from this headline, where we are being told that Nigerians turn to survival mode, Nigerians turn to survival businesses as former jobs dry up. But, we keep speaking to small-scale businesses, how people should, move away from paid employment, go into small-scale businesses. But this time around, it becomes a survival mode. Do we classify equally those hustling, to use that language, as small-scale businesses, or as Nigerians has been enterprising?
Okay, if you started from the removal of the oil subsidy, and then the money being pushed to the subnationals, and of course the government at the center keeps back some. The sharing formula, they keep about 50-something% of the monies from the federation account. So if they are giving monies to subnationals, I thought they said they were going to save. I thought they would say they were going to, fund small-scale, medium-scale industry so as to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor, so that we'll begin to have the middle class once more. Unlike what it were presently, we don't have the middle class. The rich is getting richer in Nigeria, and the poor is getting poorer. That seems to be the trend presently. So you find out that those who are even working, how much are they being paid? How do you even save? When you are working in an government establishment, and you're incapable of paying your house rent, let alone feeding your family, let alone all the other domestic expenditures that you need for the family. How do you get that? That is exactly why those who are even in paid services have gone down to begin to make ends meet. Teachers now even sell biscuits and soft drinks in their classes just to make ends meet, because of course what they are paid is not what while they cannot take care of their responsibility. Even you take away transport to wherever you are working, take away your lunch and all that, you find that you are even unable to provide for your family. In fact, I do not know exactly how to begin to talk about it. I think it's an award-winning research that the Guardian has done, because it goes to show that people, even savings, you cannot even save. When you save how much you save, and what kind of a business are you going to get the savings into, and how would you survive and grow that business. It is only on rare cases that when you save and put in that into money, you grow into a multinational organization. If you look at the online banking system, like some of these, this or that, money this, money that, they are started in a very small way. But it is not easy to get there. And how many of them has been able to get to where they are presently? So this is exactly the problem in Nigeria. Nigeria is such a country that the greater percentage of the masses are getting poorer because they are getting impoverished. Even when the workers, agitate on payment of, living wage. Now, we are not talking on living wage. That is a way that could accommodate a reasonable standard of living for these workers. The government refuses to pay on the fact that it will trigger off inflation. Beyond refusing to pay, they also think about how to make the monies to pay. But you ask yourself, the resources of the country, where does it go into? We have a democracy, we have a presidential system of government that is big, and it takes a lot of frivolities. You see, we had thought that even those in the National Assembly should think on their own to revert to a kind of governance that will be able to conserve money, because Nigeria needs that money. And when you get such money, you'll be able to, Nigerians can begin to build industries. After building the industry, they privatize it. You remove your hand from the management of it, and then the industries will run. And the people will be employed. And these people employed will be paying taxes to government. And government will be recouping a lot of money. If about 100 million or 150 million Nigerians are employed, of course, you think about what tax that Nigeria will get from about that number of people. So, I don't know. Those who are serious economists should be able to think and begin to, deploy memos to the government and to the legislature, so that they will think about how to make these things work.
All right, thank you very much. And moving away from the newspapers, equally in the news, we have trending news issues such as the Anambra traders endorses Soludo's market overhaul despite IPOB tensions. We have been informed that traders at Onitsha main market agreed to Governor Chukwuma Soludo's proposal to ignore Monday sit-at-home orders and begin facility upgrades, including demolishing illegal structures and adding car parks. This followed a state-imposed closure until January 31st, where Soludo offered a clear ultimatum: open fully or face full demolition and a 2-year rebuild. A disputed IPO statement called for a February 2 lockdown, but the group's lead counsel dismissed it as fake. Mr. Ress, this situation, we did talk about it when the governor came, blazing, threatening to close the market due to the sit at home. There were a lot of positions that governor doesn't have the legal standing to close the market further. But Be that as it may, we're hearing from the traders up now who have endorsed the governor's approach and agreement has been reached. What's your position on this very issue?
I would have want to say something in vernacular. And I'll say that in vernacular. Ọ bụrụ na agbaghị ụzọ were mgba, ọ dịghị echi. You see, the only way you can succeed in anything is to make an attempt and confront that same thing. That is the meaning of my vernacular. Soludo came out with a subtle coercion, threatening to do this, that, and all that. But at the same time, he still called for a stakeholders meeting. It was during the stakeholders meeting that these agreements were reached. And of course, that was part of what we preferred as a solution to the situation when it first happened. We said they need to do a stakeholders meeting, a town hall meeting. So you begin to dialogue and there's nothing. You see, Professor Stevenson says, I quote, peace cannot be achieved by force, but by understanding. So it was based on that those dialogue. There's no end to dialogue that they were able to agree. And you have seen that the traders of Onitsha market are now working in tandem with the governor Soludo. Then the IPOB are now at cross purposes with the other two, the government and the traders. IPOB wants to continue in their seat at home. But I had earlier said, I said it the other time, that whatever thing you are doing and you are not getting the results for which you are doing that, and you continue to do it, then it is not good for you. You have no reason. You should be thinking about an alternative way of approaching what you want to achieve. So if you do one thing and continue to get the same result, and that same result is not exactly what you wanted, how do you continue in that? More so when that is causing you a whole lot of loss of income, loss of productivity, loss of good things in the entire zone. So that is exactly why even the Enugu State government started early, full blast on time. Of course, it was as if he was going to meet a concrete wall. But at the end of the day, he achieved it. And in Enugu here, and today, the Onitsha traders now believe in Soludo. They believe in what he's preaching. They believe that they are losing man hours, they are losing money. And of course, they are all agreeing to, cut down, they're agreeing now to stop the sit at home and think about other ways to achieve what they intend to achieve.
All right, let me get equally your opinion on the same issue where we've seen that a human rights lawyer, Kenechukwu Obasi, sues Anambra government and police over market shutdown, seeking 2 billion naira in damages.
Of course, it is actionable. To shut down the market is actionable, but then, if you still look at the powers of the governor and the state interest, when you talk about national interest, you talk about state interest. If you still look at the action of the governor based on what right he has and what powers he has under the law to even issue executive orders and all that, well, it is actionable, and that action has been done. It is only the courts that will interpret the law and see if the suit is going to hold water.
All right, thank you very much. But on a comic part, I want to read a tweet from one Vivian on Twitter. She said, Soludo said they will be taking attendance every Monday at the main market on the chart. Then they should also record the names of noisemakers, since adults no longer have autonomy.
That is it. That's part of the comic everything.
Nigerians have a way of
comic relief.
Turning everything
turning into comic relief.
It's wonderful that the government did listen and that they have an agreement.
And it's wonderful that the traders at the same time understood where Soludo was calling for was Jermaine. It's only that, it's not always easy to bend humans.
All right. Thank you very much for those in-depth analysis on key issues.
Alright, that is all for today's newspaper review. Please don't forget that you could grab your physical copies from any of your favorite vendor or catch the newspaper online for more broader information. And up next is our sports update from the man himself, Good Hope, our sports oracle.
All right, thank you very much. Today in sports, of course, over the weekend we are analyzing what went on, how it was in the world of sports. We have a lot of stories from the cricket world and also from the swimming world, but we have to focus on the newspaper of sports today, what it is, what it looks like from the newspaper we have. That's the newspaper review on sports, and that is where we're going to be drawing our main key points to bring you the updates that are in the world of sports. Of course, you know that Victor Osimhen had to score his 200 career goal in Galatasaray win. They won yesterday in a 4-goal thriller where he scored a goal and also he assisted. This has made him to become one of Nigeria's finest and goal-scoring minstrel, which we may have seen in other players, but he is very spectacular, and he has made it an amazing time for the Super Eagle, wonderful wonder. I'm talking about Victor Osimhen. Now you could see that just behind inside the Punch Sports Extra, we are having some headlines that are key. We have Teta uncertain of Saka's return. Saka had some injuries while he played the match over the weekend, and there has been this issue. And of course, there are people that could replace Saka, but we are looking at just a few days ago, still in January, they sold or they loaned Waneri to Olympique Marseille. Yes, so we are looking at a good replacement. Of course, Arsenal they have Noni Madueke, they have Ebere Chieze to play that same role that Saka has been playing. Still on that, we have Lookman complete Atletico medical. You know that Lookman, our Nigeria's forward, has completed Atletico medical. There has been this rumor of him going to Napoli, and also Galatasaray has been coming for him, even Fenerbahce. Well, just the day before yesterday, he had to agree to the terms of Atletico Madrid, where he'll be moving on shortly to feature in the game. And just still in the sports and in the newspaper, we have Etikite braces Torres Gerrard challenge, and Bellingham faces injury scare as Los Blancos win. I'm talking about the match they played yesterday where Mbappe had to score that wonderful goal. That's the penalty that he gave the Real Madrid side a win. And going to the major things that happened over the weekend in the world of football, basically, you could see that Šeško seals late win for Devils. They're talking about Manchester United, yeah, because the match was going well until Fulham had to equalize the 2-goal lead Manchester United was having. And next thing was Šeško. He was subbed in. Next thing, he had to score with an assist from Bruno Fernandes. During the early hours of today, we're talking about Bruno Fernandes' way, how he has influenced the Premier League, being the first in everything so far. We have seen his stats and his record, and there's no current midfielder in England who has such feat as he has achieved. Still in around what is happening in that same, you could see the stats already: assists 12. Assists from set piece. He had an assist from set piece where Manchester United scored their goal over the weekend. Chances created, including assists. Everything is first, and he is a spectacular guy, and he has done a great job. Just the same. Now, still looking at the newspaper headlines, we are talking about PSG rejects. I'm talking about PSG women. They reject Chelsea's Echegini bid. So this is coming from the world of transfer. Basically, now Coventry, Brentford agree. Frank Onyeka, he played for Nigeria during the AFCON 2025, and them and Coventry, they have agreed on a loan deal for Frank Onyeka to come to go to Coventry and complete his season there. And looking at just by the side, we have seen the scores, what it was over the weekend, and we saw the fixtures and the scores. That's what we're seeing right now. In the EPL, Villarreal lost to, Aston Villa lost to Brentford. 1-0. Brentford had the red card, and they were able to win Villarreal. Aston Villa, sorry. When I talk about Villarreal, it looks like these two guys are together because they play the same kind of game. Because Unai Emery, the guy who is coaching Aston Villa now, he came from Villarreal. So that's kind of thing that has been putting me off. Now, moving on from that, we're talking about Man United and Fulham, the game I told you about, that Sheshko had to take a Manchester United in a 3-goal lead just yesterday, and that completed Michael Carrick's 3-game winning spree. We're looking at Michael Carrick, seeing how he has been performing, and he just took him 3 matches to complete what Ruben Amorim, the former Manchester United coach, could not do, what he took him 47 games to do. Now, Man City and Spurs, they had a 2-2 draw yesterday. In the La Liga, Real Madrid had 2-1 yesterday. And Getafe and Celta Vigo, they played a goalless draw. Now in the Bundesliga, Stuttgart had to win Freiburg at home, and Dortmund won 3-2. In the other, but Dortmund, they had 3-2. So Borussia Dortmund won the other Dortmund. And in Serie A, Torino, they had the one goal lead against Lecce. And Como and Atlanta plays 0-0. That's a draw game. And still going down. I want to come to MPFL, Nigerian Professional Football League, where our home-based league, where Nigerians have been, talents have been playing, and how it was over the weekend. And just yesterday, Katsina had a 2-0 lead against Abia Warriors. Enimba won their match yesterday against Bayelsa United. Tornadoes and Bendel Insurance, they had a 2-2 draw game. Then Rangers of Enugu made everyone in Enugu proud by winning 2-0 against Kano Pillars. I announced the match just on Friday that it's going to happen, and we saw it. Now, Wiki Tourist, this is Nasarawa United, had a 1-1 draw game. Now, looking at the English Premier League table, how it is currently, the standings, you see Arsenal, they have played 24 games and they are on 53 points. Man City is the second because Aston Villa bottled the game. They should have won. Aston Villa bottled their game. And Manchester United is number 4th with 41 points, followed by Chelsea, just 1 point ahead of Chelsea. And this is what it is, how it is going to be in the world of sports. I don't know, Mr. Uche, what you...
The Sports Oracle, looking at the news this morning, we've seen that Osimhen, has scored his 200 career goal. Yeah. And asking, is Osimhen knocking on the door as one of the best players in the world and making a demand for Ballon d'Or?
Well, Osimhen, as in Nigeria, as we all have seen him, he scored 200 goals. And from what you're asking, yes, he is. We were talking about that just early this morning on what he has done. He is one of the best strikers in the world currently. He's one of the best. I'm not sure there's any striker except Haaland and just few of them. He is going for Ballon d'Or. And looking at his stats too, how he plays and how he delivers the ball, how he fights for the ball, there's nothing that should make him not to go for the next Ballon d'Or if things are done properly well.
When you say if things are done properly well, what do you mean by if things are done
I mean, these things are by selection and also by process. So we are looking forward to our own people taking up the, voting for him when he is, when there is this, when he is selected for such a feat. We're looking at our own people, seeing what he has done and voting for him. Of course, the whole of Nigeria could give him the Ballon d'Or. Yes, the whole of Nigeria, the whole of football world could give him the Ballon d'Or, looking at how he has performed, even in the AFCON. In Nigeria too, he is just 2 goals behind Rashidi Yekini to tally up with Nigeria's highest goal scoring. So he said that he's not even interested, but he has done a lot of things. So I see that he could get something in Ballon d'Or just in the coming in.
And then at the other end, we saw Lukman, making the move to Atleti, right? And now I want to ask, are we going to see him replicate those scintillating performances that he's known for in Italy in this very, the league now is quite stronger compared to the Italian league?
Yes, the league currently where he is going to play is stronger. Just that I'm afraid of injury. I'm going to say it. I'm afraid of injury because looking at how the Spanish side plays, how La Liga plays, and how the Italian side plays, is not just the same because also the weather and everything, how these people are being taken care of. I'm looking at him making a good mark, but I'm just afraid of, I don't know, I just have that feeling of him having a lot of injuries. I just have that feeling. But I believe that if things are, he will really play well as he has played in Atlanta and also as he played during the AFCON competition.
All right. I didn't hear you celebrate Liverpool's win against Newcastle and those ANEKE moves that scintillated us yesterday.
Okay, well, you know that.
You're jealous.
I'm not jealous because Manchester United and also Arsenal won their game yesterday. So it's Arsenal that I should ask if they are jealous because Arsenal, them too, are trying to bottle what they are trying to do what they have always been doing.
That's what they know how best to do.
That's what they know how best to do.
Yes.
How to put things down. But of course, Liverpool has, I think they are recovering.
Anyway, let me bring Mr. Reyes into this conversation, talking about Arsenal bottling the league being their trademark.
Well, the Arteta-led team has done well so far, so good. A lot of criticism had been trailing Arsenal that for the past 3 seasons, they have always maintained a lead in the Premiership, and at some point, they will fail like a pack of cards. But I am one person who believes that the problem of Arsenal has to do with the bench within the past 3 seasons. Today, they don't seem to have the same problem. When he was analyzing Saka's injury, he said there are people that could still make a perfect replacement. So Arsenal is good in this season. And in all the competitions, Arsenal are still there. So the chances of Arsenal...
all the competition all the time.
All the competition... No, not all the time. Okay, you talk about Carling Cup, they are there. The FA Cup, they are there. The league, of course, and the Champions League.
But that's no guarantee that they will come home with any of the trophies.
No, the chances are that they will come with some of the trophies this time.
Do you believe they will
some
come
of the
with
trophies, I can tell you that Arsenal, if Manchester City or Manchester United just throttle behind Arsenal, Arsenal would not have such. Aston Villa is not even a threat. I'm just saying it here that Aston Villa is not a threat as Manchester United or Manchester City behind Arsenal.
But do you believe that Liverpool stand more chances to come home with trophy this season compared to Arsenal?
Well, Liverpool is in the pool of their problems. And they are just trying to pull themselves out.
You have just made the people out there listening to us to enjoy themselves, because I don't know exactly how you begin to talk about Liverpool. Liverpool
is we're speaking to the defending champions of England.
Oh yes, they are the defending champions.
Season Champions League winners.
Of course, they have not found their rhythm this season.
But they have now.
In any case, it doesn't stop them from coming home with any title.
It doesn't stop them from.
It has happened in the past.
I am not saying so, that it will stop them. Football is what it is. Anybody can win. Even at the stage they can come up to win a trophy. We saw when they were just trying to survive, and they came out to win the Champions League. They were trying to survive in the league, and that same season, and they came out to win the Champions League. So Liverpool has always been, a wonderful team. It's full of wonder, full of wonder.
The most successful club in England.
Well, I can tell you that.
It is not the most successful club in England. It is not the
most successful club in England.
No, it is not.
Liverpool is not the most.
It is
the
not.
most successful club
It is
in
not.
England.
It is the
on
most
if
successful
we
than
if
in
we
England.
begin to
Liverpool is not
if
the
we
most
begin
successful
to
club in
look at the
England.
How do we
stats
measure
so
success in
far,
football?
how
We
do you
measure
measure?
success by not just trophies.
No, success
by-
in football, success is measured by trophies.
Not just trophies.
What
no.
else do you use? What's the yardstick?
we-
if not
football
trophies?
We
is
also
business.
measure talents and how.
Football is business.
Okay. Do you know?
If you
The
come from that
cumulative-
perspective,
the cumulative showing of that success, if football is a business and as a sport, the only thing that proves that is your sporting wares, which is what the trophies you can display on your cabinet.
Okay, sir.
what
Do you
trophies
know-
do they have?
Liverpool, they have all the trophies.
All the trophies.
You can think of in
And
football.
you think-
And by
Trophies.
numbers, they have
And you
it.
think there's no other team that has all
I'm
the
not saying
trophies?
that there are no other team that, but when it comes to England, when you see Liverpool, you speak to the most successful club in
How?
England with facts. We are speaking to trophies. and
Which
they have
trophies?
it.
Which trophies?
All
You
the
know-
trophies. When you talk about all the competition, Liverpool is that one team in England that can
In,
brandish it the more.
in England,
Let me
Yes.
let me
the
ask.
most successful in FA Cup is Arsenal. In
You
England,
mentioned Arsenal.
yes, that is. I want to start.
We are speaking to the most
Uh,
successful club.
no, how-
You
what-
don't bring Arsenal into this equation.
Okay. Wait.
Arsenal does not
Okay.
come into this equation.
Mr. Rex, I want to ask a question, and I want to say it. Do you know last season, Manchester United, they finished 15th in the league position, but they were richer than other clubs.
That is success too.
That is when you
Success.
speak to money.
But
when
that
you
is-
speak to
they
money,
were richer and they
when you
were more
speak to money.
influential.
What is
But
success?
Why did they sack their coach?
Success is all
They sacked the
encompassing.
No, Mr.
It
Rex,
is all
Mr. Rex,
encompassing.
Mr. Rex, when
It
you
has to
speak
do with
when
money.
you speak to success in football, there's only one pointer, and that is your trophy.
Not just
No.
trophy.
No.
Mr. Che, not
No.
just trophy.
Why do we sack coaches?
Excuse
Why
me.
we
Why
start
do we
coaches?
start
Now
coaches?
listen.
Why we start coaches?
Now,
Why
let-
okay,
let me
ask,
ask-
Is what's his name? The coach of Arteta. Do we ascribe Arteta as a successful coach?
Now let me ask
Can
you.
you
Well,
say
Mr. Rex,
No,
answer
can
that.
you say Arteta
let me
is a
ask
successful
you.
coach?
No, let me ask you a question. Now I want to tell you. I want to ask. If you want to measure success, it is all encompassing. It has to do with trophies, the records you have had. It has to do with even the funding. It has to do with the output. What have you been able to produce? Who has been there? The then president of Liberia, George Oponwe. That's the only African that has ever had the world best player. But he's not the most successful player in the world, in Africa.
But when it comes to trophy in football, we do not measure.
No,
we do
listen
not
now,
measure the
listen.
weight of the
He
ball.
is he got the best player, that's Ballon d'Or, the best player in the world. But he's not the most successful player in Africa.
But at that time, he is the best player in the world.
At
And
that
that
time.
is
But
what
he's
is
not
being
the,
measured.
and that does not make him the best player,
As at that
the
moment,
most
he-
successful
as at
in
that
Africa.
moment, he is the
Nobody
best
has
in the
ever
world.
had that Ballon d'Or
No, but
from
let's-
Africa.
Let's go back to context.
Nobody.
Let's go back to context, Mr. Rex. I will argue with you to high heavens that the only way to measure success in football is by number of trophies you can display at your cabinet. If you're speaking to money, you're speaking
Does
to weight.
Liverpool
If you're
display
speaking to
more
weight,
number of trophies than other clubs?
mention it.
I'm asking you.
Mention it.
No, I'm
We
asking
are
you.
talking about England.
No, let's
We're
No,
talking about
no, England.
We're
Does,
talking about
England. Let's
okay,
talk about England.
does Liverpool as a team, has it shelved more trophies than any other?
Sure.
That
The
is
next- the
that
next
is
club
that
close to
is.
it- the next club
Excuse
close to
me.
it should be Man United.
Excuse me.
which,
That's
you know,
exactly what I wanted us to name one after the other. You know what
when
I
you-
said?
when you talk about
I said,
display of
okay,
trophies, When you
okay.
talk about display of
Okay,
trophies,
okay.
the people that were there, is Man
How many-
United.
how many
speaking to
league-
Ferguson, telling you that they've not
how many
back
league
up their
titles?
perch, but currently Liverpool
Excuse me.
is back at their perch,
How many
having
league
more
ti-
trophies.
How many league titles?
How many league titles?
How many
Tell
league
me.
titles?
They have more.
How many?
Okay.
I want to
Oh,
mention
what-
mine.
Okay, which club is that?
I said
Which club is
we
that?
come to league,
Which club is
FA,
that?
Carling's
Which
Cup.
club is
We are
that?
talking about
Which club-
England.
Which club is that?
No, wait
You
now.
say you want to mention yours. Which
Yes,
club is that?
I'll mention when I want. Say, let us start from league, FA, Carling Cup.
You are not in this table.
Then
You are not on this table. Arsenal is not on this table. When I'm
I'm
speaking
not
to
talking-
successful
no.
clubs, I want to hear Man United talk.
Well,
Say the
I
club,
want
the
to hear Man
cups
United
there.
talk.
Oh,
I want
no.
to hear the likes of Man City begin to make noise.
Man City of yesterday.
Let them, because
Manchester
they've
City
become
cannot-
more successful than Arsenal when it comes to Premier League.
well, they have become more successful
Than Arsenal when it comes to Premier League.
But
And
when we're
Mr.
talking about
Rest,
influence,
When it comes to Premier
I put it
League.
to you that your coach
You see,
Arteta
you
has
see,
nothing to show
you see.
in terms of success. Yes, he has nothing to show in terms of
Anyway,
success.
we are shooting beyond
No, we're
our-
not shooting, but for want of time, we will push this to other times. Let's take a look at the business update. And speaking to the business update, we'll start from the Nigerian stock market. Looking at the Nigerian equity market wrapped up last trading day of January 2026 on a slightly bearish note. On Friday, January 30th, the All-Share Index, ASI, dipped by 0.09%, closing at 165,370.40 points. Despite the daily dip, we see the market showed resilience over the month, with the market capitalization settling at 106.15 trillion naira and a year-to-date return of 6.27%. Looking at the market capitalization, we see 106.15 trillion naira, the volume of 687.39 million units, with the value traded being 14.98 billion naira in deals totaling 41,553 deals. And looking at the Guinness chart, we see that the Ziggy's Agro-Light Industries closed trading at 4 naira 19 kobo, making a positive adjustment of 9.97%, leading the pack. And we are seeing Abi Mortgage Bank closing trading at 9 naira 40 kobo, making equally a positive adjustment of 9.94%. We're looking at RT Briscoe, equally closing trading as of Friday at 7 naira 86 kobo, making equally a positive 9.93% positive adjustments. Looking at Almatech, equally closing trading at 3 naira, equally in the positive of plus 9.89 positive adjustments. Let's take a look at the profit takers. Talking about losers, we know that the banking and pharmaceutical sector pulled the index down, with several stocks shedding significant value. And starting from Len Africa, which closed trading at 8 naira 10 kobo, making a negative minus 10% adjustment. We see Living Trust Mortgage closing trading as of that Friday at 4 naira 5 kobo, making a minus 10 negative adjustments. We'll see Livestock Fees closing trading on Friday equally at 6 naira 30 kobo, on minus 10% negative adjustment. And we are seeing Deep Capital Management equally closing on the dip at 9 naira 39 kobo, making a negative 9.97 adjustment. And when we look at the activity leaders, we'll see Cutis PLC being the most traded stock by volume on Friday, with over 144 million units exchanging hand. And then let's take a look at the Naira performance. As of Friday, we'll see that Naira maintained its recent winning streak on Friday, January 30th, 2026, continued trade below at 1,400 against the dollar. And when we look at the official market, where it opened at 1,388 naira 7 kobo against the dollar, making a close at close to 391,391 against the dollar. And moving over to the parallel market, which we saw the activities remain relatively stable, with the end of month volatility being notably absent compared to previous years. We see trading range move between 1,460 to 1,475 against the dollar. And looking at the Naira performance against other currencies, we see the Naira closing at approximately 1,912 Naira 64 kobo as against the British pound. And against the euro, we see the Naira trading at 1,658.40 kobo as against the euro. And this in all gives us that the Naira stability is largely attributed to the electronic foreign exchange matching and a steady rise in external reserve. And this is it for the business update. Plus, please take note that you need to consult a financial advisor before you make any financial investments in the Nigerian capital market due to the volatility of the market. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. And also thank you for staying with us on Sunrise today. This is where we'll call it a day here on Sunrise. Please do not forget to follow us across our social media platforms, across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, all at ANEKE TV, or call our phone number 070-3043-7110. It's always a pleasure having you on our show every morning. I am Deborah Nwakoba.
All right, and thank you, Mr. Res Arum, for coming to the Sunrise today and for those in-depth analysis and the banter as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and to the man of many parts, the sports oracle, Mr. Gudo. It's quite interesting having you here this morning as well.
Thank you very much.
And I'm Uche Osai. On behalf of us here at Sunrise at ANEKE TV, we'll say thank you and keep watching till we'll come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.